Hey y'all, this is David, the Georgia photographer, and today I'm in downtown Chattanooga. I'm back in the game, you might say. Well, kinda. Anyway, what I've got here is the 28mm f2.8 Yashica lens from that kit that was given to me by Craig that y'all saw in the other video. If you haven't seen it, there's a link. You go watch it. It was pretty incredible. But what I'm gonna do is I wanna shoot with this lens, and I wanna shoot it in its native form factor. Back in the day when I did a bunch of my lens review videos, I shot everything on like a Fuji X-T3. You know, it wound up being a lot of crop sensor cameras. So, you know, that makes the effective viewing angle look like it's a longer lens than it really is. So what I wanted to do was, now that I have a full frame mirrorless camera that I can use, I want to put this lens on that camera instead. Well, it's not a Yashica, so I bought this widget. Let's see. A lot of times they come with Allen wrenches. This one apparently don't need one. All right. It's a Hogue. I'm assuming that's what that is. Yeah, it's got a G. So this has, Yashica uses the Contax mount. So Contax and Yashica shared a mount. Let's see, there's the red dot, there's the red dot. You line the dots up, red dot, red dot. Line up the red dots, turn it, lock it. Now, it's adapted to my Leica SL2. We're gonna take off the glorious and wonderful 50mm Apo Summicron and mount this ancient lens on it instead. Let's see here. It's a lot smaller and lighter that way. Let's see. I'll have to do a little bit of settings, but there's the plan. I'm gonna take this lens and I'm gonna shoot some today in downtown with it. I'm gonna share the photos with you and give you my thoughts on this lens when we get done. But to give you the rough specs, it's a f2.8 lens, so it's f2.8 to f16 on the aperture ring. It's whole stops, yeah, the whole thing. So yeah, it's in whole stop increments. It doesn't have like half stops. It also has a minimum focus distance of 1 foot, roughly. It says it goes slightly less than that, but about 1 foot to infinity, of course. As I was saying, the 28mm is f2.8 to f16 aperture. It's in whole stop increments, and its minimum focus distance is a little under 1 foot, which is pretty close. The lens ain't, but I mean, in the infinity position, it's only about 1.25 inches long. You add about 3/4 of an inch for the adapter, the flange length, you know, but it's a very compact and small lens. So yeah, I'm curious to see what it looks and does like. We'll shoot it some at f8. I'm gonna shoot some architectural. I might try to do some street photography with it, but my goal is to shoot it at f8 and get some good rendering. Then I'll do a few at f2.8 just to see how it shoots wide open. But yeah, let's play with it. Come on. Okay, I'm down here in the alley, yeah, in between Cherry and Market, called the City Thread. And I'm just gonna walk you through it and let you see what it is. It's kind of a neat deal. They've got this piece of steel artwork that weaves its way through the alley. I've done photos here in the past, but today nobody's here yet. It's early and, well, it's lunchtime, but it's cold, so nobody's outside. So all the tables are set, but there's nobody here. Check this out. About the time I said that, here comes somebody. But it's got all this artwork. This is some kind of store. It's a bar of some sort. Isn't this neat? They got this big steel artwork running right through the middle of the whole thing. How you doing today? Good. Yes, sir. Met a gentleman named Harris. That's the person you seen in the video passing through, and he's into photography, but he doesn't have Leicas. He wants one, but he doesn't have one. That's a pretty common thing. People just feel like they're too expensive, and that's fair. I mean, they are expensive, so nothing wrong with that. But we chatted for a few minutes. He's a cool cat. He got my social media card. But now, here we are, back on 8th Street. I was just here. But this lens is doing really well. Yeah, I took a bunch of photos, and well, let's do this and get the exposure to work a little better. But I took a bunch of photos in the City Thread Alley, and now we'll head down here to the Loveman building and across over to the Tivoli, maybe over to the West End, get a few photos there, circle back around. Let's get some going. So what I've come to understand here is that this is a pretty good lens. Honestly, it's not bad. It's I'd give it probably a 7 out of 10 on the Georgia Photog film camera lens review scale. It's actually got really good rendition, but it's a pretty bad lens flare, and the focus range on it, I mean, it's got about, let's see, it's almost a half a turn. If it had a little more focus throw or a little better spacing on the wide end for the long range focus, it would probably be better, but it just doesn't have it. And like, that's infinity, that's 12 feet. Another 1/8 of an inch goes to 7 feet. You're changing your depth of focus dramatically, really fast. Now, if you're shooting street, infinity to 2.5 feet is that much movement. So, you know, you just got to throw it a little bit if you're trying to get snappy street photos. But, you know, this other stuff is all close range focus. Most of the travel is. But it's a pretty nice little lens. I wish they had half stop adjustments on the aperture, give you a little better light control, but it only has whole stops. But other than that, it's a great little lens. It doesn't weigh much. You know, if you could get this for 40, 50 bucks, this would be a good lens to have in your kit. I've taken mostly landscapey scene, like, you know, Vista styles, because I've been shooting 50mm so much. For me to shoot 28, it's pretty wide. I just kind of got out of the habit of shooting it, so it's kind of hard for me to come up with something. But yeah, it's not a bad lens. I'm kind of impressed by it. So with that, this is David, the Georgia photographer, and until next time, get your camera out and go take a picture with it. All right, we'll see you later. Bye bye.